Good evening and welcome to the Law Chambers, where legal matters are discussed from a Christian perspective. The name, Anita Delight. Today's topic is quite interesting. We are going to look at a legal document, right? And someone was asking me which of them are we going to look at. Don't worry, when we get there you will understand. And so if you have any questions, our social media handles are available. Send it to any of them and we'll answer them for you. If you have any questions, you can send it to 05596800066, 05596800066. So each month we try to spice the program up with a tidbit, right? So in the month of October we did breast cancer. We had an experienced person who had gone through it advise us on the way forward. Today's tidbit is going to be on ESG. You don't know what it is, don't worry, you get to find out very soon. And I have with me no mean a person than just the immediate past president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana Council. She was a president. I think she was the first female president. The fourth. Oh, okay. That is, you had the ICG zero, GBA, our first woman. Can you imagine? She goes by the name Lawyer Senna Dake, Chartered Accountant. So I have to add CA. Senior Counsel, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So November, the tidbits, we are going to discuss something on ESG. I think my viewers will want to understand what ESG is. And how does that have to do with business and the general populace?
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Good evening to your listeners. So our listeners, we have ESG being environment for the E, social for the S, and governance for the G. I think for today we would look at it as doing business the right way. That would be how we want to put today's session, that how do we do business the right way. Many organizations may think that the ESG, as a lot of organizations talk about it now, are for the large companies, but we normally forget that the small, medium and micro enterprises also have roles to play. In fact, most of the time they are more affected when any of these three elements, whether it's the E, the S or the G, goes bad. If you take the flood that happened at a point at Circle, for instance, how many of our small businesses got up early, the small, medium, and then the big companies that were in that area have survived. If you take flood, even the last year one from the Akosombo Dam, and then the livelihoods that were lost and the economic deficiencies that occurred in that area, you realize that those doing small things are also affected. So when we are talking about environmental issues, then we are expecting everybody on board to be concerned. And so in discussing environment or talking about environment for my business, what should I be looking out for? Anything that can affect my business in a way by the environment, or that my work or my business can affect environmentally, can be considered issues for consideration. Okay. For instance, the energy I use, the electricity I use, I can save a lot of costs if I decide to do some basic things, like making sure I switch off my lights, making sure that maybe I introduce one solar or some elements of renewable energy in what I do. There are some businesses that are saving a lot. They don't have to pay much electricity. They still use electricity, but they powered by ECG. But then because of the solar in the evening, all the lights are powered by solar. How do I also benefit from it as a very small or micro enterprise? There are some organizations that forget that they don't manage their waste. So a lot of their resources are going out, but they are not aware that those resources can help them to maintain their own environment. So when we think about environment, we should not think about it as what is the environment impacting on us alone, but we should also think of what are we also doing that impacts the environment. Is it the trees that we've cut around, or the trees that we've grown to bring more green? Some organizations, for one reason or the other, are doing a lot of things and say they are doing greening. But actually, it's not about just saying it, but it's about acting it. And I think for us to get very, very far, it means that our mindset must change, and the businesses must incorporate or integrate environmental sanity in our operations.
Thank you so much. And so, will you want to touch on the S and the G a bit before?
Yes. So, when you talk about the social, it's very easy as the name sounds. So socially, it has to do with relationships. It has to do with how employees and employers are relating. It has to do with how customers and the business or clients are being treated. And it has to do with how the still some part of it may go into environment, some are interlinked, how the congenial atmosphere that businesses prepare for engaging people. So how are you treating your employees? Even in very small businesses with just 2 staff, some of the staff have worked there for 25 years, and when you ask them why are they still working there, maybe their salaries are not too much. They say the way the owner relates with them. And it's the same thing when your business is growing, or if your business is larger, because the way you relate with your workers, whether fairly or unfairly, will determine whether you are also being socially sound in what you do. Some clients go to a business, and that is the first and last time because of how they are, the way they are spoken to, the way they are not, the business or the employees are not concerned about the issues they brought, and they go and leave and do not have opportunity to even recommend. So I listened to somebody who was sharing her testimony, how her relationship with her client had given her more business. And truly, a happy customer will make a recommendation. You will get more money, you will get more attraction for your business when your environment is more welcoming to your customers. This is a very basic thing that we can do to see our business doing right.
And the last will be my G, and then
yes.
we'll go for a short commercial break.
Okay.
And we'll be back.
And the governance is just about our management. So governance should bring to mind leadership, and what goes into leadership is a lot. But for today, what we would just want to touch on is the first basic things: your record keeping. Your record keeping is very, very important, and at this time it's so important that businesses should take certain legal requirements seriously. Something like registering your business at the office of the registrar of companies. Some people think they are not big
enough,
but the problem you would have is that when all the businesses around you are going for loan, or when there is a grant, at the moment we have the Ghana Women's Development Bank. So if you have opportunity to just be listed as a business and you are not registered, you cannot access the funds. There are some very easy funds, venture capital. We have the African Development Bank. We have the Development Bank in Ghana, or Bank of Ghana, which is also purposely meant to help businesses, some small and medium enterprises. Once you have not put certain record keeping, certain legal framework together, it's very difficult. But when you have to be considered either by a bank or by a government institution that is giving some subsidy, the record keeping is not only what is checked. They are looking at transparency, because you can go and just write certain things just to get what you want.
And a lot of people do that.
But it is not enough to do that, because they want to see transparency. They want to see how sustainable you can put your environment into. An anti-corrupt, maybe putting your your business in an orderly manner, presenting your financial statement, and all those little bits and pieces, and even filing your tax are things that can be to show that you are responsible, you are accountable, and you can be trusted.
Thank you so much. So my question, are you responsible? Are you accountable? Can you be trusted? Let's go for the short commercial break. We'll be right back.
But our Lord is coming because he has promised that he will come back again and receive us unto himself, that where he is, there we may be also. And I want to invite you, because in times like this, we need to know how to prepare to meet our God. The things you need to do, the steps you need to take in order to meet your God. Join me as we all listen and get ourselves involved in preparing ourselves to meet Jesus.
In times like these, showing Saturdays at 6 a.m. only on Hope Channel Ghana, your preferred Christian TV station.
No nyankopon hwehwa ne se onipa biara ebediye ewa asase so. Hope TV Ghana ya yen hyehyɛ e de ama osanse wadwuma ho hia yen na osika sem so hia yen. Enu nti e na Hope Channel Ghana abribia ye de Hope Business Forum dwumadie ebre wo aha ye tena sisua de ye ni mpanimfo a wo maben wo makodare no mo nimdie e wo sika sem mu ye no mudi nkomo bisa wo mo na mo kyerɛkyerɛ ye wo se ye ama ye businesses ayeye no atimi apagya wo nso afi na wo pɛ adwuma e ma waba mu dwumadie aba se ebetetew ebekyerɛkyerɛ na mo wahu ne wo se wo ye na timi aboa ma wo nso watimi anya adwuma na se osika sem betimi agina brane no adwuma tumpɔn de a utwa se abribiara oni ye tena ya wada nwumre bra abono wotwe.
Hope Business Forum, showing this and every Thursday at 8 p.m. only on Hope Channel Ghana.
Ahoya! God is good all the time. Oh, my brother, my sister, in the period that we are, there are so many things that we are facing. Crucibles, tough times in our marriages, in our relationship, at our workplace. I am going to encourage you, bring you hope, joy, messages of hope. These are messages of experience that we had in recent peacekeeping mission from Southern Lebanon. A new series dubbed In the Crucibles with Christ on Soldier of the Cross. I invite you for this period on Soldier of the Cross.
Soldier of the Cross, showing this on every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. only on Hope Channel Ghana.
Welcome back. Welcome back. So the tidbits, you learned something. No. Okay. So now let's move on to the legal document, the topic under discussion today. And with the legal documents, my question would be, what are some of the most important legal documents we should look out for? And I'll even throw in a little bit of, is it possible for them to show us how to draft some of the basic ones? Free advice and free documentation. Don't worry, we'll try to pin them a bit and see how it works. So let me go ahead and introduce my guest to you. So I have two lawyers with me here. I have lawyer Mrs. Edith Vanessa Kwate-Fiawu. I hope I've mentioned the name right. Edith is with P. Opoku at Law. And their specialty includes land-related matters, commercial, family, criminal, and other civil matters. She holds a BA in political science from K University and an LLB from GIMPA. Of course, she got her certification from the Ghana School of Law and is currently pursuing her master's in natural resources law. That's it. That's one interesting area, right? Her hobbies include listening to music and dancing. Edith would dance for us before we leave here. Don't worry. I also have with me lawyer George Ananpra. George is a Ghanaian corporate and commercial lawyer with expertise in legal drafting, corporate governance, regulatory compliance, and commercial transactions. He works as an associate at Aqua Sampson and Associates, an Accra-based law firm. He is a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Ghana and holds a BEL, that's a law degree from Central University, and a BSc in Geography and Regional Planning from the University of Cape Coast. He is much respected for his analytical skills and committed to ethical practice. George provides strategic legal advice to corporations and is a recognized voice in Ghana's corporate legal landscape. So I have George with me and I have Edith with me. Counsel, you are welcome.
Thank you.
I hope everything is fine and everyone is fine.
Everyone is fine.
And Edith is ready to dance fast before we leave here.
I will.
Hey, Edith, let's promise us a fellow. All right, so now let's zoom in. Let's zoom in. And so when we talk of legal documents, what is a legal document, or what's the main purpose of a legal document?
Okay, basically, legal documents I would categorize as documents which are in form of agreements, contracts. There are sometimes declarations, anything that is enforcing a liability to one person and also enforcing a right to the other person. That's basically how I define a legal document.
So can we have a verbal, non-verbal document that could be binding?
Yes.
Or we should always have it written?
No. Some documents can be verbal, some can be non-verbal, and they all have the binding force so long as they are legally enforceable.
Okay. We want to add?
Yeah, basically, so when we talk of contracts, it can be oral, it can be written. Now, the contract law or the Contract Act provides for oral agreements.
Yes.
Now, for you to know that something is binding, there are some basic elements you need to look out for in respect of a contract or an agreement that has the force of law. Now, when you talk about a contract, then you're looking at something, you look at whether there's an offer, whether there's an acceptance, whether there's consideration, and whether there's an intention to create that legal relationship between the two parties to the contract. So yes, oral contracts like we enter into from day to day have the force of law and can be enforced.
And do you need a lawyer for that? Necessarily?
Truth be told, you necessarily do not need a lawyer when it has to do with coming up with an agreement or a contract, but it's advisable. I would advise,
lawyers will always that bit. It is advisable.
Yes, it's very advisable to.
Okay.
Where it gets.
So I want us to look at some of the legal documents. When someone hears of power of attorney, what should the person be thinking of? When someone hears non-disclosure agreement, indenture, so we'll be picking some of the popular ones. Okay. So let's start with power of attorney. When we hear of someone hears, Anita, I need a power of attorney. Edith, George, I need a power of attorney. What is power of attorney? What does it mean? And what we should look out for with such a document?
Okay, basically a power of attorney is where it's a document that shows that a person is donating a power. It's giving the person an obligation to perform a particular right for him. And it may be general. For instance, maybe the person will be the one to be going to the bank and going to the day-to-day activities of the person when the person is unable to do it. That's a power of attorney. It can be specific, where the person can just donate to the person, just be attending courts and take evidence for me. That is a power of attorney. It can be durable in the sense that in the person of incapacitation, he can say that, okay, whilst I'm incapacitated and I have some things doing outside my bedridden state, go and perform these tasks for me. That is a power of attorney. It is giving another person my power to do it for me because I am unable to do it. And the caveat is that once the power of attorney is given, then that person is unable to do any function at all because you have given that power to the person.
Does it that power is absolute? So let's say, for example, I liked what you said about the fact that it can be specific. So let's say I'm outside the country, I'm building, and I say, Edith, help me build this one, and I give a power of attorney in respect to the building. So that's in respect to the building. You can't now go to my house for the tenants to give you my rent and go to my business. No, it's in respect to that particular
So for the power of attorney, it's basically governed by the agency, the general principles underpinning agency.
And what's the general principle underpinning agency?
So the general principles underpinning agency is where a principal instructs.
Who is a principal?
The principal is the person who executes the power of attorney. Yes. So it is where the principal instructs his agent or attorney to act in a certain way for and on his behalf in his absence. So where you go over and beyond the powers that have been conferred on you in the power of attorney, then the principal can elect to either rectify your act.
Judge wants to convince us with the legal to elect.
Okay, so
give me layman's English.
So the principal can either decide to either affirm what you have done or ask you to take sole responsibility for the acts that you were not authorized to do. Yeah. So for instance, you are out of the jurisdiction and you want a writ issued on your behalf. Because you are not in the jurisdiction, the laws do not necessarily permit you to issue that writ. So you do so with an attorney, and you can only do so if you execute a power of attorney for the said attorney to, as a way, issue the writ on your behalf. And there are legal procedures to follow and adhere to if you intend to execute a power of attorney.
In short, find a lawyer.
It's advisable to get a lawyer.
All right. So the power of attorney, what we are talking about is the fact that attorney is your lawyer, right? But this time, an attorney is someone you're giving power to do something on your behalf. So you write on paper, this particular person, I want this particular person to do this and this for me for this period of time and all that. So we give a caveat in respect to all that. Yes. So if you hear POA, I need a POA, that's power of attorney. So when someone says go and get a POA, it means get someone with whom you give your power to do something for you. And the lawyers will be there to help you drop that document, don't worry. So now let's move from power of attorney to notarization. When you talk about notarization, what is it? They'll hold a document and say, notarize it not for me. So I need someone to notarize it for me. And you're confusing the lay person. What does notarization mean?
Okay, so basically notarization is as we certifying or authenticating a document. Now, so for instance, you are out of the jurisdiction and you want to rely on your university certificate in another jurisdiction. Now, the institution you intend to tender that document to in that jurisdiction may not necessarily know the university that you are claiming you attended. Now, but by convention, there's a general understanding that if a lawyer of a certain class or level witnesses or confirms or authenticates a document, that other institution may rely on this said document. So that is the general understanding of the notarization, where a lawyer of a certain level.
So in Ghana, we are looking at 10 years and above.
10 years, as the law prescribes, that lawyers of 10 years and above are the persons who can authenticate or notarize documents. So, and generally, if also, for instance, you are out of the jurisdiction and you want someone to act on your behalf and you prepare power of attorney, it must also be notarized by a lawyer in either UK or the US for it to have the force of law in Ghana. So basically, legal documents that are prepared in Ghana that have to be relied or used out of the jurisdiction ought to notarize per the laws we have in force currently. Yes.
All right. So it means that you can't just go to any lawyer and say, notarize my documents for me. You need a specific kind of lawyer. Yes. And that person should have been gazetted, and
good standing.
And the person has even gone ahead to be given that seal.
That seal and that special seal.
So someone can be 10 years, like visiting years, some about 10 years. We don't have it yet, you understand? So we can't notarize. So that is the idea you should have. So when you hear notarization, there are certain lawyers 10 years and above who have been given that seal, that power. So a lawyer who wants that will usually write to the Chief Justice for that particular seal, and may or may not be given that seal, depending on the person's class. Okay, so now let's look at...
If I may, I may add a very important reason why there's the need for notarization. Now, one very important thing is it helps to prevent fraud.
Yes.
And credibility. So that is why in most institutions now, even if for most documents that emanate from Ghana, first you need to notarize it, goes through the judicial service, for the judicial secretary to append the signature, and then you have to proceed to the Foreign Affairs Ministry to also authenticate it. It's a double layer process of preventing fraudulent documents that emanate from this country. But even with this process, you can all attest to the fact that some people are able to find their way.
So usually when it's going outside the country, we are looking at the judicial secretary, and we're also looking at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
To add a double layer authentication.
But your lawyer, when you talk to your lawyer, will do all that for you.
Yes.
So you don't
at a fee.
Of course, it can never. When you say talk to your lawyer, it can never be free.
It comes at a fee.
It can never be free, unless the lawyer is your father or your in-law. Yes. Yes, please.
We also have to consider the Commissioner for Oaths.
Yes. Yes, that's another. So now let's look at
other parts. That one looks onto our jurisdiction in Ghana. So for that one, it's the same attestation or authenticating a document, but this time it's testifying to the document in Ghana. So for that one, as usual, for that one, we even have Commissioner for Oaths who do that.
We do.
And lawyers,
and most often they'll be under. I don't know why they always like under that tree. I don't know why they like that under the tree.
No, they need to. You know, that was how.
With the typewriter. Exactly.
You would agree with me that when things.
And they're usually old men.
You would agree with me that when these systems were in place, it kept a lot of these fraudulent documents in the system. With the advent of technology where it's so easy for you to execute or prepare documents. You know, my senior always tells me that, George, I would do more time the laptop or computer or for online reported cases. When we were called in the 80s, you go to a law firm at Adabraka, you have to go to the Supreme Court Library to go and do a research. Come back to the office to write, go back and go and type, and if there's a mistake, you have to go back and ask yourself how that document can be corrected. So yes, the advent of technology and all that has greatly impacted on this profession.
So when we talk about Commissioner of Oaths, usually they are around the courts. So when you go to the courts, they are usually around, and usually the registrar of a court too can do that for you. But sometimes Becca just a Commissioner of Oaths, and they are always around the courts if you need them. And one thing I also realized about them, they can do every legal document for you.
It's amazing.
And they are more than lawyers, though.
It's amazing. Anything. And when they read to you, you'll be like as if they are their own pocket lawyers.
Yeah, but they should come and see lawyers.
No.
Whether commissions
I don't advise them going there. Because sometimes they make certain mistakes that it can only be seen by a lawyer. And when that goes to the other office, it brings a lot of problems.
Because one thing I realized is that a lawyer will draft something, and then they will see how it's done, then they pick it up and they also use it. But you never know, circumstances, and it changes.
It changes.
And they change your name. Instead of declaration, they do an affidavit.
Yes, an affidavit.
That is a very big mistake.
Easy.
So go and see you need a lawyer and pay some legal fees.
All right, so now let's look at LA. When someone talks of LA, letters of administration, lawyer, I need letters of administration. What's an LA? Is it the town, Los Angeles, or what is it?
Okay, LA basically it's the full name is letters of administration. It happens when a person dies without a will. I would have said intestate, but we are here to
please.
Without a will. So it means that as you are about dying, you don't know when you die. And some put their house in order by making a will. Others do not because they don't see when they die. So with that, there has to be an LA, and that LA is not just like you are given a mandate to go and administer the will in accordance to law.
Yeah.
So even in that, you become an administrator, and there are categories of persons who have to be, who are mandated to be the ones to file. If you are the spouse, there's an order of priority. The spouse first. In the event that there is no
the
spouse,
husband or the wife,
the children. In the event where there is none, the father or mother of the deceased. In the event where all these three are not there, then the custom successor. And for that one, the head of family is the one that they have a meeting and they choose or appoint who they want it to be the custom successor. And that is the issue is that the fact that you have been given, you are going to be awarded the administrator of the estate of the deceased.
doesn't mean it's for you.
That is for you.
And it's very, very important.
People misconstrue that once I have the elements, I'm going to take the property to myself. But no, you are going to administer in accordance to law.
I'm going to share.
Yes.
Yes.
And even with that, the law has also prescribed the methods by which you are supposed to share the property.
Yes.
And this is the problem that most people face.
Yes. With their lease.
Yes.
So when you hear of early, it means that someone close to you has died, and the person didn't make a will. So it means you have to go to court for the court's permission to share the property according to law.
Okay. So and also let me clarify.
Yes, do.
There are instances where a person may make a will or die testate.
Exactly.
But there will be the need for his beneficiaries or the person that the law prescribes who can apply to the court to actually proceed to court for an early. If, for instance, the will is not properly executed.
Or part of it.
Yes, part of it. Yes. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you only apply to the court where, or if, for instance, the named executors in the will fail to actually apply for probate, then the beneficiaries or persons who have interest in the property or the deceased estate can then apply to court for estate with the will annexed. Yes.
And sometimes the executors can even
die. But they can't hear. Like you are rushing. You are not talking as lawyers. So me, I don't even understand what anybody is saying.
The people that as I said, the will. Well, under the will, they are giving some persons to administer to share the property. In this manner. For this one, I prescribe, give my wife $1, give my wife 1 CD, give my child 2 CDs, give my daughter 3 CDs. So for that one, the testator gives, the one who is writing the will gives maybe one or 2 persons the power to share it in accordance to how he has written it. But there may be instances where that person who is supposed to even share it even dies. We've had that instance
before the person
even died, but there is already a will. So what happens? So you now go and procure an early, not to distribute in accordance to law, but come and distribute in accordance to what the will has prescribed.
Yes.
So that
we understand. Okay. All right. So now we are done with early. Now you understand what early is. So now let's talk about probate. When we talk about that document, that animal called probate, what is it?
Okay. So there are 2 instances when a person dies. You either die testate.
No, I don't understand.
You either die with a will or you die without a will. If you die with a will, your named executors in your will have to apply to the court first for the will to be read.
Important.
And then if anybody is named in the will as an executor, then that executor or the executors will then have to apply to the court for probate or for the will to be probated. Yes, it is a permission you go to the court to give you to administer the will of a deceased person. Yes. So basically that is what probate is.
All right. So it means you are going to the court for that part to distribute according to what the person has stated in their will. So it means if you make a will, you go for probate in court. If you won't make a will, we go for letters of administration. It's the opposite.
Yes.
But they are supposed to be doing the same thing in a way.
Let me give you a little scenario.
Yes, true.
There was an instance where there was a will we had to go and read. And when the daughter came that he saw a will in his things and it came to us that it means we wrote it. So we had to take the steps to ensure it be read. But the thing is that he was not buried yet. He was not buried yet, and when we went, we got a date to go and read the will. All the family members were there. They were even surprised because usually I think it's only 5 persons who are supposed to enter the reading room.
Yes.
There were more than 10. There were almost 20. The uncles and aunties and the grandfathers were all in the room. only for the man to go and read the will, only for the will to be read, and only the property to give to the daughter. Now we bury the man.
But the body is for the family.
It is for the family.
So even if you're not
at that point, they got feel
angry.
that since I'm not getting anything, it means you are burying your father yourself.
But the funny thing too is that if you help her, maybe she will give you something.
That is something. But the way they feel that as we are going, it means we are getting something. So that at least we will use that energy to bury the person, and
that's why they'll tell you finish bury the person before you come and they will advise you.
This is the illegal advice I'm giving to someone. Make sure the person is buried first so that you don't leave yourself.
I believe we need to develop the culture of advising people to actually execute wills whilst they are alive.
Yeah.
Now, it helps in many ways. One, how your affairs would be conducted when you are no more. We are all witnesses to what is currently going on with a respected legend of our land. A will.
Oh, you can mention his name.
A will could or may have prevented many of these issues. How your burial should be conducted.
I know that one is not it's not enforceable, but at least all things being equal.
Yes, it gives some form of direction, direction as to how your affairs ought to be managed when you are no more. So yes,
that issue, eh? So who is the wife? I'm digressing. Allow me. Who is the wife?
Please, I have not been instructed or I have not been paid to give an advice. The
fact that you are seated here,
this issue, eh?
Oh, but we all know what the law says.
And what does the law say?
The law says that the person who is married in accordance with law, either customary, whether.
But the first wife, it was ordinance, and so it means the second one cannot be in the form of marriage.
It cannot be.
So it's concubinage. And people don't want to hear it. So you say they are angry. Okay, so now let's continue with that. All right, now let's look at non-disclosure agreement. What is that? What animal is that?
Okay, so mainly non-disclosure agreements, you would often see them in commercial transactions or employment agreements or let's say employment agreements and more commercial agreements. So non-disclosure agreements basically are to the effect that do not disclose certain information that you become aware of because of the relationship we are going to create. So I come to this space, you have some technology that if I become aware of, I can proceed to use it and it will be non-competitive to you. I will therefore be obliged to sign a non-disclosure agreement. As the word says, non-disclosure, you are not supposed to disclose information you become privy to because of a relationship you enter into. So copyright informations and some patents, those in those areas sign these kind of non-disclosure agreements. And in most employment contracts as well, there are non-disclosure agreements in there because your employer may have some trade secrets that because of your employment you become privy to, and as such you are not allowed. Even if those clauses
are not in there.
It can be a clause in an agreement or a full agreement on its own. Even if those clauses are not explicitly stated in your contract, they may be implied by law. So if you are in employment with someone and you come in contact with certain information, you know whether or not you have a non-disclosure agreement, the law binds you or requires of you not to.
And then we'll be looking at also law. Now let's also look at non-compete agreement and clauses. Yes. What? How do you look at that?
I think they are the same things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Practically, in the sense that, for instance, maybe we are into the business of, let's say, trademark or something.
Yes.
We, by virtue of you being an employee, even sometimes it's a partnership thing.
Yes.
That we do it together and we're able to get clients and all of those things. Then, in the event of maybe a breakaway or a breakup, let me say per se, you end up going to the other party, the other side. The clients that we both worked with, you go there and go and take them to your other side, and that is the non-competitive agreement. So at the end, you are breaking down one business to go and develop the other.
Another one.
Which that one is very, very important. Because some people buy,
especially business, small businesses.
Yes.
It's normal for you to have the same expertise because of the business that you do. It's normal. But if you want to break away to even create yours, it's ethical. Let me put it that way. Ethical that you do things in a way that you do not sabotage the other party because you want to advance your cause.
Your own business.
So that for that one, that's a non-competitive agreement. Yeah. So they sign those agreements just to ensure that your going away or your breaking away does not cede our company.
But we have some who will tell you that say, okay, so you are in the business. When you leave my business for the next 10 years, do not do the same business around the same area. Maybe I'm in Kumasi, don't do it in Kumasi, just go and do it somewhere else. And for the next 10 years, you shouldn't do that kind of. Yeah. Is there a fair one?
So basically, I'm currently in a matter of that nature. Okay. Basically, the rules are that the non-competitiveness clause ought to be reasonable. So there's a test of reasonability in respect of those clauses. Secondly, we need to look at whether or not we need to look at the human rights aspects of this whole clauses and these whole agreements. If the enforceability of that clause or that agreement would hinder the livelihood of the person, the court may not give effect to it. So for instance, you are in the media space, you work with a media house, and then they expose you to information, the skill of presenting and whatnot, and then in your clause they state clearly that should you leave this media organization, you are not supposed to work in
any other media for the next 5 years.
Exactly. So your employability becomes subject to. So the court may not. It's about a question. You might proceed to do it. It's up to your employer to either sue you for a breach of contract, and then in court your defense may be that this non-competitive agreement is unreasonable. And
but are these documents important, or are there another document you want to talk about generally?
I will talk about wills.
Wills, please do.
So please do. Like I said, it's one very important document that everyone should have.
Especially when you don't know when you are going to die. You say, I'm waiting when I'm about to die, then I'll do it. I'm like, when? Or you are Ezekiel, God has already told you when you are dying.
My basic advice is that, so if you even if you're able to even buy a car,
and but the person says I don't have anything. I have just one car, one house.
You know how to be buried.
Yes, you know how to be buried. That is the problem, because it has made the courts are being heckled with these cases every day.
Yeah.
Because you the wife will think that I'm going to procure the early.
Yeah.
Only for the father and mother to come that it's also my son, so I have to take the property.
And then the children, and then the
ones who are the ones. And even the famous one is the SNET.
Yes.
By the time you're doing the SNET, you use your brother, sister, uncle, or something to just writing for writing's sake.
Yeah.
Then you die, and now when the wife is going for variation, she said, no, because it's my brother, so I should be entitled to the 40%. Is that the...
And especially when you don't have a child who's underage, it means what you have in there. So that's what we always we said this before. Snit has been here and has told you before. Go there and go and change it. Especially when you get married, you have children. Go and change it.
But some people deliberately leave it for obvious reasons.
They usually also want to give it to their sister for what the sister has done for him. And
some also do maybe because he may have multiple children or multiple wives. And
now the girlfriend. The girlfriend issue is the one I don't understand. The one I did, it was the girlfriend. And the girl, you were married, you have 4 children. And so the girlfriend was the one on it. Man.
No, it's his decision.
Did I just say man?
No, you see, you need to give effect to decisions people make.
Even when they are unreasonable?
No, even if you see, reasonable. In his will, in your will, you can decide.
You know, there's nothing. So there was no will. Okay, yes. So that you just imagine how it's going to be shared.
Yes.
Okay, so we are looking at all the children involved. Even the legitimate and illegitimate. You are looking at the wife, right? You are looking at the parents. A child is a child.
Yeah, we agree.
That's what we all share.
We don't
contest that. We are looking at the spouse. You are looking at the parents. You are looking at the conservative.
Can you imagine?
And so the one you know say at least Mr. Betty Miasum, isn't it?
That is the
and I want to. Oh, girlfriend.
Hey.
Okay, so now let's continue. Let's talk about wills. Yes, George.
So like I said, it's a very important document that everyone should aspire to have. Even if it's a one plot of land and you intend to give it to your mother, your child, your wife, or some person who has some influence in your life, you could put all these into writing and the law will give effect to it. If you want your burial done in a certain way, you could put all these things down in writing in a will. You do not necessarily need to be a rich man to execute a will. All you need is to see a lawyer to guide you to properly execute a will. And even after you have executed a will, you need to update it from time to time. Maybe the woman you are married to now may not be the same woman you may be married to at the time of your death.
It will be the same one, George. It will be the same.
And circumstances do change.
I know, right?
Yeah. Circumstances do change. So
Yes.
anytime there's a change in
if you use
circumstances,
that one, I agree.
no, I just wanted to be a practical. So some do change, and from time to time, when there's a change in circumstance, you need to amend or execute a codicil.
So the codicil is the add-on.
Yes.
And I want to say that when a will is being executed, because it's a statement after a dead person, so the rules of will are very strict and rigid. To the extent that where the person is signing, do you have to be actually present to see the person signing? Yes. And there is this notoriety where you are outside the country, and then you call your lawyer, write a will for me. Then the lawyer will send the documents to you through Word documents or via email to you. Then you sign. Then you come and bring witness, go and sign. But it will be valid at the point where nobody challenges it. But when
I was telling someone that with technology, you shouldn't have that problem. No, because the law is saying what? All of you should be present. And the ones should be seeing each one sign. Yes. So if we are all on Zoom, let me push you there. Exactly. If we are all on Zoom, and I can see you sign, I can see you sign, I can see you sign. So far as I'm seeing you sign, it should suffice, you know?
But the issue is
in the present. What is present?
That is the clause. And whilst being present, I saw this person signing.
Technology will show you signing. I'll see you.
The issue is not with the signatures on there. The issue is when some other person has an interest or questions the validity of the will.
Yes, but I'm looking at the definition of present. Will they really looking at how technologically advanced we are now? Will they really be still looking at us rigidly, strictly as saying in the presence and we are all seated here?
I think that the Wills Act is very rigid with it. And
but I think they might, in their interpretation, they might.
If it's tested in the Supreme Court, just maybe.
Please let one of your clients test it.
So as I said, if nobody comes challenges, then you are good to go with. It's your hallelujah. Go and execute your will. Yeah. By the events where somebody comes to challenge it, that is when whatever you have done becomes penalty.
But another solution to that is that all your witnesses should be there. All the two of you should be there. Do it together. Then when you are done, you just bring it down.
Take videos, pictures.
Yes. Those things are very important. And also, now I don't do these things without taking pictures and videos.
In executing your will,
add it to the put in the.
Also, be careful who you choose as an executor.
Very important.
Because there are instances where clients will come to your office, you apply to the court for the certified copy of the will, you get it, and then it becomes an issue identifying who the executors are. Sometimes 2 years, you don't even know who Kwame Mensah is.
Without any description.
And even if the person is alive is 1, 2, if the person is dead, how do you prove to the court that this executor is dead? Then it becomes a problem for the lawyer. So if in choosing an executor, let it be known someone your immediate family can identify as Kofi Mensah, son of this, then we can go to the person and then apply to the court. Because there are instances
when you're giving all the properties to one person, just make that person executor. There's no need to pick another executor. I go like, if you're giving everything to your daughter, as in your case, why go and pick another executor?
Let's make you made two family members executors,
and then this girl will be in trouble.
And you see, the painful thing about being an executor,
I hope you are following that.
It is just a responsibility born out of hardship and a lot of no reward.
We don't know whether reward.
But I always say that there should be some, maybe not, but administratively, I'm not going to use my money. Okay. Yes. And when I go, I have to eat, I have to drink water.
Yes.
Those are the in terms of payment.
There are instances where you expend a lot of money to pay lawyers to apply to the court, pay the estate duty,
do everything, and then they will come and then
there's nothing in there.
Actually, I had a friend like that.
Wow.
She told me, say, I'm not. She's quite old. She was like, I'm not doing that will thing. I'm like, why? I was like, my father. We went to pay the lawyer. And we did everything, and when we went to court and we opened the will, no, one house, and that one house was not even worth that much.
Yes.
Even when we paid the lawyers more than the worth of the house.
Oh.
And you don't even know when you are appointed an executor. That's the painful aspect of being an
So why
executor.
would that
I
person
think
with
they
one land want to make a will?
So you need to make your wife who is the beneficiary, just like you
Let's
said.
be aware of it. So that I think that for
Because it's
an
quite
executor, let the
painful.
person be aware.
All right. So now let's look at this. These documents, are they important?
They are very important because, first of all, these documents, as I said, it enforces a rights and obligations under the agreements, the contracts, or whatever that is being written. Sometimes it helps to protect the intellectual property of the person, and it also ensures compliance. And it's like an understanding put on paper, and sometimes an understanding between two persons. And all these things, if they're not important, then for a will, for instance, imagine it's not being written, and you are going through the heckle of going through an LA. It is work. You can procure the LA, and yes, you are still administering the estate. Yes. It can be 2-3 years, you are still gathering the money because you have no idea. Now let's look for all, and that's when the corporation to be another issue. So,
And that's where lawyers get most of their monies.
oh, that's what you are saying.
And one document we failed to discuss
Okay, no
is
way.
an indenture.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, a very important. It's basically a general term.
You know
for-
what an indenture is?
Yes.
So we're going to explain.
Yes, so an indenture, the instruments or documents that cover interest in land. It could be in various forms. It could be a lease, it could be a sublease, it could be a tenancy, it could be a deed of assignment, it could be a conveyance, it could be a vested asset, it could be a deed
It
of
can be
gift,
anything, so
it
far
could
as
be
it's
a lot
written
of
land.
things. So it is very important.
Yes.
You cannot have land and claim that you do not have a document that covers the land. And it's a specialized document. And you cannot prepare it without the help of a lawyer.
Oh, now they do.
But there are issues
They
with
do.
it.
You know, they have to stamp and sign, and they'll
The
bring it
lawyer.
to you.
I have
They'll
that
finish,
experience.
they'll draft everything,
I would read
and
it
then
and take the
they
CFs.
tell
I
you,
have
lawyer, I need you
experience.
to just stamp it, just stamp it. I'm like, just stamp.
It's
I had
not
that
just stamp.
experience, and I was like, just stamp.
Just stamp.
Let me look at the
What I don't even know what is in there.
I read and I was like, I'll not stamp this.
No.
So long as my signature, my name will be there, I won't stamp it because there are so many issues, and the law prescribes that these things should be done by a lawyer. If you are coming to just stamping, me, I won't use my name for it.
Just stamp.
Maybe another lawyer to do it, and I made the person go.
And one funny thing about indenture, okay, so one funny thing about indenture is people think when they have it, then they have absolute right to the land. No. So
you
tell
need
us why not.
So you need to go through the process. It's a
Of registering.
process.
Okay.
You need to pay the stamp duty on
At the Lands
instrument
Commission.
and then proceed to register. There are instances where you can even proceed to get a land title certificate. Take those steps and secure your land.
You remember
By-
we brought a
yes.
land.
By
person
merely
here.
having the
indenture.
indenture.
They
it's
have
not
the
enough.
indenture and it's so old and so
And they
big
keep
and
it in their it's in the in
either my
their-
bowl or their diary. Those two
So
documents.
they're not even stamped, and I'm like,
Yes.
why are you keeping this for this number of years?
Some even the oath of proof.
Everything is inside.
And you see, it's a technical document. So when you have a lawyer prepare it for you, he will ensure that these
All these
basic
things are
things are done before they hand it over to you. You go to the chief and his asafuache, and they prepare the document for you.
Yeah. And so go and get a lawyer to stamp.
You fail to sign the oath of proof. You fail to sign the certificate of proof.
Sometimes even the years they've not
And
written
then
it, the amount they've not written it, nothing.
with the
They leave all
excuse
those
that it helps you reduce the tax you pay to the
I
state.
know,
Yes.
right?
But these are technical documents. At the end of the day, if there's an issue in respect of the land, what documents are you going to rely on? And you know, in our part of the world, lands are assets.
Yeah, real assets.
So you need to protect it.
You do. You do.
So I think people have to.
So with Chat GPT and AI, people can stay in their rooms and sit in their rooms and drop these documents, can't they?
They can.
So why should they come to
But
the
you
lawyer?
still need a lawyer
Why?
to be able to ensure that the document
Compliance.
complies with the law.
of Ghana.
You see, most people prepare documents, and the very important part of it, the recital part, which gives you a history of what the transactions that have affected the land. An ordinary person doesn't even know these things, the boilerplate clauses. We intentionally not break it down so that people will come to us.
Exactly.
Yes, they don't know these things, and this ChatGPT and AIs may not necessarily give you the full complement of the legal document. So it's very, especially when you are investing a lot of money in the land, it doesn't pay to consult a lawyer to just get a small percentage to him to review.
You buy a land worth 4,400,000 and the lawyers a little percent that you see.
The little is what? Is it 10%?
No, you see, one good thing about
now you said me I'm a lawyer.
One only good thing about this profession that people don't know. We can't charge beyond what the law says we should charge.
Exactly.
But the law is not saying to take a percentage.
We are regulated. The fees, the law says, J5.
There's no percentage in there.
For conveyance, there is conveyance
about 1 million. There is a percentage.
Small, pay to lawyer, let him.
Lawyer.
So that you see, the cost of litigation would be more than the price of the land and the fees you would have paid to a lawyer to help you with due diligence and prepare the documents.
So if I should, I have my time is almost up. I feel I may be enjoying it. If I say, you see, it's almost up. If I say pick one document and in orally tell us how it's drafted. Pick one document.
Okay, so I've talked about wills. I've talked about indentures.
No, pick any of them.
Yes. I'll talk about
drafting.
Yes, I'll talk about the sale and purchase agreement for the sale of land.
Okay.
What most people do not know is that before you get the indenture, there's the need to get the contract for the sale of land. That forms the contract for the sale. It specifies who the purchaser is, who the seller is. It gives you a narration of the transactions that have affected the land, the payment terms, and the obligation on the seller and the obligation on the purchaser. But you see, when you take the indenture in itself, it doesn't give you a schedule for the payment. No. So if there's a dispute, how do you resolve it? Right? So the sale and purchase agreement for any transaction is a very important thing that people have to avert their minds with.
Okay. So now give me the steps. You are drafting.
Yeah, I'm drafting.
Yes,
so
your head.
So this agreement is dated today is 20th November.
Yeah.
The 20th day of November 2020 between the purchaser, Kofi Mensah of house number
on one side.
After known as the vendor.
Oh, they are listening.
Yes. And of the one part and Adjoata of house number 15 Dansuman Street, blah blah blah. After call the purchaser of the other part. And then whereas the land.
So then you come down, then you come and tell them how much the price
the
and
consideration,
then
the payment schedule.
The payment schedule.
You know, there are instances where the transaction, the volume of money is so huge that the purchaser cannot
break it up.
And there are instances where some vendors or some sellers will not necessarily hand over their documents to you to conduct your due diligence. So in that agreement, you can agree that I'll give you 10% of the value of the land, hand over your documents, let me do my searches at the Lands Commission, do my due diligence, and when I'm satisfied, I pay 50 more. And then after the documents has been, the indentures and everything has been done, and I've gotten...
It doesn't happen like that.
Yes.
So not do it. That when they give you the document before you pay the that's how it should be.
That's why you need to involve a lawyer.
How it should be.
Because if he protects you, if for instance you are buying...
That's why lawyers are so difficult when it comes to landed issues.
Yes.
Because when we are buying lands and properties, we are very strict.
Yes, because without the contract for the sale...
They think we are bad, we are litigants, we are... You're not cheaters.
Yes.
You don't want to cheat.
When you ask people to conduct searches when they want to purchase land, like assassin, they say, "Oh, me then now person." But hey, I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
And without ascertaining from the Lands Commission, which is the repository of all lands transactions, how can I advise my client to proceed on a sale?
It becomes difficult. Okay, in just my time is up actually. In your own local language, under a minute, summarize what we've done. Under a minute. I'm starting with it.
In local language. Okay.
Under a minute.
Oh, no me ayoji. Legal documents eji wolokoni ewie libini afio. Where power of attorney. No okay. Owula.
Samaba.
Yeah, Samaba. Your part, okay, Hamoko, a part, Nibi Nucho, I feel, I thought more if you have because of your fee. Me, you have no fear and have Ekume, if in the cape, in the shake suggest this thing. Sometimes we feel like a sugar while I know your up and down, but can have like a she if you have. So that's the power of ascending. Me also, when I hear about indenture only will only count a heshipon. No, a very important one. Call a heshipon near Hakubu, then ask me Boyayoska. Is a no owner wulu. Ni wulu was an H on ni bini. Many a me transaction any ego on the Shipono. Ni onaka she assign can sign the time. Make sure Akashi and deponent sign it. I have back on it and I sign a court. Make sure Akashi assign a court in lawyer and waste stamping. Can ni moko yes and if habu. Can a lawyer ni if indenture in habu. Can help Shipo and moko ngwe. Can more like Akashi like I near a actual a lawyer pony if in a indenture in hale. A wawa. Ni also who sell and purchase agreements who know the same. Nele bako ya heshipo wo okele ya agreements ni bono to no pay. Konika o pay bon chu eni no na ka no ya any shipo no here ekesa ko ba habu.
Edith, you are in trouble. Okay, George, continue. Don't mention the document she's mentioned.
Me futu kakra me wo mama ne de. E benin e besia I started bobra. Enkrata impenin krata enhia de ebeye eye samanso me kan samanso a me kire de ebenya will na will no nso esede nya lawyer no tumi do one no kasa to fom ebe kire the way a o property say wa wana nipa obefa o properties oyero o ma webushia ebe protect we interest when you are no more.
But kind of correct. Thank you so much. It's the Akaniano documents in the also. Yakande, Yakapa of attorney. No answer, more say. It may be a way to cry and answer, oh, home foul. As I say, Ope so be a baby more, obey me the I am. Will so you're very important. Say, Ope say, oh, see, I send a sino, also obedient. Quite well, and can you say, or moko, or on the body, no moko, my baby. And can see on me. Your indenture or personal agreement before I open your indenture and usually an agreement be over. I'll just can a crack in your home here. Into your cat documents we mun ya sem. They're in here. They're in our shot next season. Yanka one sem more. Till the Yanka say better. So until next week, please stay safe and it's adieu from us.